Here now to kick off our night of reaction to this historic interview is the anchor and executive editor of The Story right here on Fox News, Martha MacCallum. Martha, the reactions pouring in. Katie Rogers at the New York Times saying that those in Biden's circle who watch this think it's enough to keep him in the fight for now. NBC reporting a little differently from a House Democrat. It made me sad, the House Democrat said, completely out of touch with reality, insulated from the truth. I'll be breaking my silence soon. Your thoughts?
I thought it was fascinating, Kayleigh. It's great to be on with you tonight. You know, that first soundbite that you played, when I listened to it again, I tried again to put together the train of thought of what he was talking about. He said, I prepared like I do for foreign leaders. Then he went into a section on what the polls are. And then he finished by saying that former President Trump had lied a lot. So, I mean, I would have really liked for George Stephanopoulos to have said in that moment, I'm sorry, what did you mean by that? Which one of those points was what you were trying to say? And just asked him that, rather than all of these repeated questions about, will you take a cognitive test, which he said no to. And I think that's a very valid question that he asked, because I think that's what American voters are going to be asking, because this campaign, day after day, and with every appearance, is going to become a cumulative test of this president. And we've seen already so many instances of these blunders and lost vacant stares. So this is going to go on and on. That's what he made clear, Kayleigh. And I just want to make one point here. What I heard from Joe Biden, I am stubborn. I am not going anywhere. I don't believe the polls. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, if they came to me and asked me to get out, cannot get me out. In fact, only God can get me to leave this race. He said that twice. So he has set up a Biden versus many strong members of his party battle. And he's putting his line in the sand, and he says, I'm only talking to a couple of people. I'm believing what they're telling me, and I'm not going anywhere. So I think tonight this got even more interesting, actually, Kayleigh.
Indeed, it did. I mean, you have Senator Mark Warner, a huge Democrat, a Biden ally, putting together this meeting on Monday, according to the reports. And I wonder how some of the, I guess, factually inaccurate moments is how I would describe them, how they'll factor into their calculus. Here's one of them. This is President Biden on NATO.
Can you serve effectively for the next 4 years?
George, I'm the guy that put NATO together, the future. No one thought I could expand it. I'm the guy that shut Putin down. No one thought could happen. I'm the guy that put together the South Pacific Initiative with AUKUS. I'm the guy that got 50 nations, out, not only in Europe, outside of Europe as well, to help Ukraine. I'm the guy that got Japanese to expand their budget.
Martha, the issue is Putin was not stopped. He invaded a country, and NATO, he did not create NATO. NATO was created in 1949, President Truman. Again,
Kayleigh, I think it's a great soundbite to play. I would have liked to have heard George Stephanopoulos follow up. I'm sorry, you shut Putin down? Putin has not been shut down, and there wouldn't have been a need or a scramble for Finland and Sweden to join NATO if Ukraine hadn't been invaded by Russia after this president, and this is just the fact of the matter, said that, you know, a minor incursion might be okay, but something larger than that wasn't going to be okay. So all the things that he just laid out happened on his watch and were perpetuated by the allowance of Putin feeling that he had the freedom to go into Ukraine in the first place. He also said, we're sort of checkmating China at this point, and I would have loved to have heard more about what he means by that.
Yeah, you know, there was this talk in Axios today of inevitability. And these Democrats, most of them anonymously, Martha, saying, you know, it's almost inevitable that he steps down. This Axios interview isn't, or excuse me, this ABC interview isn't enough. Some people wanted an hour-long interview, but it's very clear upon watching this, 20-minute interview that an hour interview would have been untenable.
You know, I mean, this battle is going to continue, and I think it's fascinating. You know, it felt very quick to me. It was 22 minutes, and it's not unusual for presidents to say, look, we're going to give you 15 or 20 minutes. But it feels as though he is so committed. You know, I thought here's one of the things that really struck me. He basically said, I'm in this until the bitter end. And if I lose, it's okay, as long as I give it my all. And I thought that was also a very interesting moment, because you've got Democrats and donors across the country who are panicking and scrambling because they think he might lose to Donald Trump. He says he doesn't believe any of the polls that show that, but he says, as long as I give it my all, that's my measure for staying in there. And he has all the delegates. He's got a lot of the cards in his own deck, Kayleigh. So it's anybody's guess as to whether or not they'll be successful. He says only God can push him out. We'll see.
Yeah, and as Susan Glazer said, there's a lot of people calling into the White House switchboard saying, hey, the Lord Almighty here, we need to talk to you. Martha, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.